The Palace of Versailles was built to dazzle, and it did. But behind the golden gates, beneath the glittering chandeliers and endless mirrors, hid a world most history books only whisper about, one of scandal, secrets, and ruthless political games. I'm Arthur. Today, we're stepping past the glamour and diving deep into the dark truth behind France's most iconic palace, a place where appearances ruled, loyalty could be bought, and power always came at a price. When Louis XIV transformed a modest hunting lodge into the grandest royal palace Europe had ever seen, he wasn't just building a monument to French art and architecture, he was engineering control. Versailles became his stage, lavishly designed to reflect his absolute power. But while courtiers bowed and flattered, real battles were fought not with swords, but with gossip, seduction, and secret alliances. Life at Versailles was a performance, and every noble played their part. To survive, one had to be constantly visible, constantly charming, and constantly strategic. Status wasn't just about blood, it was about influence, access, and how well you could navigate the cutthroat etiquette of court. And those who failed, they vanished into obscurity, scandal, or worse. One of the most infamous chapters in Versailles' hidden history is known as the Affair of the Poisons. During the reign of Louis XIV, a network of fortune-tellers, priests, and noble women were accused of dealing in black magic and poison. The scandal reached dangerously close to the king's inner circle, revealing a terrifying truth. Within the most refined palace in Europe, some were willing to kill to climb the social ladder. But that wasn't the only secret Versailles held. Louis XIV used the court not just to impress, but to spy. He filled the palace with informants and used architecture itself as a tool of control. The layout of Versailles wasn't accidental. Rooms were designed to create visibility, to limit privacy, to keep nobles close, under his watchful gaze. Even who got to sit, who stood where, and who entered which door was a signal of status or a warning. The deeper you explore, the more it becomes clear, Versailles wasn't just a palace, it was a gilded trap. And then there were the royal affairs. Versailles was a place of scandalous liaisons, whispered rumors, and secret love affairs that could elevate or destroy entire families. The king himself had many mistresses, most famously Madame de Montespan, who was both revered and feared at court. Her fall from grace during the poison affair sent shockwaves through the palace, proving no one, not even the king's favorite, was safe. But the reality behind this story is even more fascinating. Whispers traveled faster than carriages at Versailles. A single rumor could ruin reputations, unmake alliances, or start duels in shadowed corridors. Behind the elegance of the Hall of Mirrors and the carefully manicured gardens, Versailles was a breeding ground for manipulation. Nobles spent fortunes on gowns, jewels, and favors, all in hopes of being noticed, of securing influence, of not being forgotten. The palace itself became a symbol of something deeper, power through performance. Every glance, every gesture, every silence was calculated. Even waking the king became a ceremony. Known as the levee, nobles competed for the privilege of handing the monarch his slippers. To the outside world, it looked like flattery. But to insiders, it was war by ritual. And what of the queen? Marie Antoinette, decades later, would inherit this same stage. But her presence at Versailles stirred a different kind of unrest. As she withdrew from the formal rituals and created her own private domain at the Petit Trianon, whispers turned into venom. To many, she became the embodiment of excess, indifference, and extravagance. The infamous phrase, "let them eat cake," though likely never spoken by her, captured how the public saw the palace as out of touch, bloated with luxury, and deaf to suffering. But Versailles wasn't just built on gold and gossip, it was built on suffering too. Thousands of laborers worked for decades under harsh conditions to bring the king's dream to life. Water had to be rerouted, entire villages relocated. The fountains alone consumed vast resources, designed to impress visiting dignitaries, even if they had to be shut off the moment they passed. Behind the splendor was a machine fueled by control, inequality, and relentless ambition. Yet even amid the darkness, Versailles remained a marvel, a place where art, music, and design reached new heights. It reflected the best of human creativity and the cost of unchecked power. Louis XIV died in the palace he built, and while his descendants would continue to rule from Versailles, the cracks were already showing. Generations of court intrigue had created a culture of isolation and entitlement, one that would ultimately collapse in the chaos of revolution. Today, tourists stroll the same halls that once echoed with secrets, but few realize just how many layers lie beneath the marble and gold. Versailles is not merely a monument to royal grandeur, it's a cautionary tale. Because in the end, the Palace of Versailles didn't fall to foreign invasion. It fell to truth, a truth buried in whispers, masked by beauty, and finally revealed when the people had had enough. And perhaps that's the most powerful secret Versailles ever held.